Welcome to the Airbnb Roadmap, the podcast designed to navigate you through the entire journey of short-term rental success. Whether you're just starting out or ready to take your hosting game to the next level. My husband and I became super hosts within just months of launching our first Airbnb and have proudly kept that title ever since. With over 350 reviews and an overall 4.95 star ratings, we picked up a hack or two I'm excited to share with you. In each episode, I break down the strategies, insights, and industry secrets that set profitable short-term rentals apart. From choosing the right property, understanding local regulations, and obtaining your listing to go beyond just the basics. I'm here to share everything you need to succeed. So if you're ready to map out your path to Airbnb success and unlock the full potential of short-term rentals, join me on the Airbnb Roadmap. Your journey starts here. Hey, I'm Brittany Wenninger, and welcome back to another episode of the Airbnb Roadmap. Before we get into today's episode, I want, as always, give you a life update. Our little baby girl is very exhausting, and I'm not going to sugarcoat motherhood. I have so much more respect for moms, and honestly, I have so much respect for the mothers that do a natural birth because that would be absolute hell. Yeah, it's just, motherhood's real. I am so happy that we actually automated our Airbnbs because I can't imagine running a Airbnb business while having a newborn and cooking, cleaning, doing all the things, because that would be chaotic. So I'm so thankful that we automated everything because our business is still thriving and running smooth, and I am focusing on our little newborn right now. So trying to feed her, do all the things. So that's our life update. But another update, which is very exciting, is the course has officially launched, the Airbnb Acceleration course. And that is all about finding, analyzing, and launching your very first short-term rental. So yes, it is kind of geared toward more the beginner stages because honestly, if I had a course like this, I would be so happy, but I had to learn everything from scratch and by myself. So definitely check out the course. It's not that expensive because I don't believe in overcharging for education because you need that money for your Airbnb. You don't need to be spending thousands of dollars just to try to learn how to get an Airbnb. So the course is not that expensive, and there is a promo code for my Airbnb listeners. So make sure to check out the promo code, save that money, and learn how to actually run a very successful Airbnb business. But let's actually get into the episode. Today, we are diving into one of the most crucial parts of running a successful short-term rental, and that is your Airbnb reviews. You've probably heard people say that reviews are everything, and honestly, they kind of are. They affect how you show up in the search results, whether people trust your listing enough to book, and even if you qualify for the superhost status. So in today's episode, I'm going to go through how the Airbnb review system works, what guests actually rate you on, how to encourage 5-star reviews without sounding desperate, and what you do when you get a bad review, and why reviews are truly a business strategy, not just feedback. So let's actually get into it. Airbnb reviews are actually pretty complicated, which sounds kind of ridiculous because truthfully, it's just a review. It's not like a Google review where you go on someone's business profile and you just say, hey, it's a 5-star review. It's a lot more complicated than that. And as a host, you need to know exactly what to do and how it works because, again, reviews are your lifeline for your listings. So after a guest checks out, Airbnb sends both you and the guest a reminder to leave a review. You each have 14 days to do it. And that's what they call a double-blind system. That means that you can't see what they wrote until either both of you have submitted your reviews or until that 14-day period runs out. This is Airbnb's way of keeping things honest and unbiased. So no, you can't read their reviews and then decide whether to be nice or not. And honestly, I think that's a good thing. It pushes everyone to be honest and fair. But the little selfishness of me really wishes that I would know if someone was going to be leaving me a bad review, because I would kind of want my review to match their reviews. But that's just me having a little devil on my shoulder because, you know, when people leave me a bad review and I leave them a great review, I'm like, come on, like, don't be mean, be nice. But it's always interesting because when a guest leaves a review, they don't just leave you one overall star rating. They actually rate you across 6 different categories. And these categories are the cleanliness, communication, accuracy, location, and value. So I know the accuracy, I can never say that word. I'm sure that you are just laughing whether you're in your car or whatnot. But I'm just going to keep on saying that, does the listing match what people are actually walking into? So let's just say that that's one of the categories, because I can't even say what the legit name is. So don't judge me on that one. But let's just kind of break each one down. So for cleanliness, are your sheets spotless? Is the bathroom sparkly clean? Are there crumbs in the drawers or dust on the surface? Cleanliness is huge. This is often the first thing guests will mention if it's off. Even sometimes, like a hair in the shower or in the bed or sticky kitchen countertops can leave a 3 to 4 star review. And that is kind of the unfortunate part of it, is if you do have a cleaner and you're not cleaning yourself, this is rating off of their own services. So you need to make sure that your cleaner is staying up to par, that they aren't slacking 1 week or slacking 1 month. So whenever we actually go into the property, and yes, my husband and I, we do visit our properties, I would say once a quarter. Honestly, like even the summer months we go there, I would say every other week to once a month, depending on which property we are talking about. So, for example, one of our properties is only 45 minutes away. We also have a boat slip on there. So, we go to this property a lot just because we go on our boat a lot. So, we will check out the cleanliness very often. And there is sometimes that the cleaner does slip because she doesn't clean every single time. Her helpers clean. And sometimes you can tell that they just don't care. So, what I go do is I will go in there, I will take photos and just kind of tell the main cleaner, saying like, hey, like this stuff needs to get buttoned up because of our Airbnb reviews. I also make sure that all of our cleaners do go on Airbnb and will look at their own ratings, because at the end of the day, the guest is reviewing their services. So that's why I'm like, hey, go into Airbnb, look at the reviews, and make sure that the reviews are up to standard. Now, the second category is the communication. If you are taking my online course, you will know that communication's huge. And there is a nice little tactic that we use to make sure the communication is flawless every single time. But overall, this is about how responsive and clear you are at the beginning, during, and after their stay. Did you answer questions quickly? How is the check-in info? And did they feel like that they are taken care of? So hopefully, again, if you are taking my course, then you know that this will be an automatic 5-star review for this category. Check-in. Check-in is another thing that you can completely automate. So this is how smooth and easy was it to get into the property? Was it a self check-in with a keypad? Did they struggle to find the unit in the dark? Was there any little hiccups? Was the lockbox confusing or no exterior lighting? All of this stuff can hurt your rating if it doesn't go smooth. What we have is a keyless entry system, and we do make sure that we have exterior lighting. Now, one of our properties, there are stairs and we do have lights on the stairs, but some people are like, oh, it's too dark. But, pull out your phone and have the flashlight. Like, it's not that hard. But that's just my own little pet peeve with people sometimes, is they get a little too picky. And I'm like, all right, folks, like, you're in a cabin in the woods. It's going to be dark. I'm so sorry. Like, there are lights, but sometimes they don't motion on. But okay. Anyways, that was a huge side note. All right. Moving on to the category that I cannot say, accuracy. All right, it's getting better. But this pretty much, does your listing match the real experience? Were your photos recent, meaning that whatever your photos are on Airbnb, do they match what is actually there in person? Was everything that you promised actually there? If you say that there's an ocean view and it turns out that there's a lot of trees in front of the view, that's not really accurate. So you want to make sure that if you're saying that there's an ocean view, there's actually an ocean view. The fifth category is location. Now, you can't move your property, unfortunately, but guests will rate on the area. Is it walkable, close to what they actually needed? Is it safe, quiet? This category is subjective, unfortunately, but is still a factor into your overall rating, which I personally believe that this should not be a category, just because when they book your property, they know the location. They know that it's out in the country in the woods. So when they go there and they say, oh, the location is a 3-star, it's like, okay, well, you didn't really do your own research, and now you're kind of taking it out on us. So I'm sure that you are kind of figuring out that some of these categories are kind of ridiculous. And I'm not a fan on some of these because it's kind of lack of the guest research. Anyways, we'll just kind of mosey on. And the last one is the value. Did you feel like the price matched the experience? This doesn't mean that it had to be cheap. People will happily pay more if they feel like the quality and touches were worth it. But if you're charging luxury prices with budget like decorations, expect a ding, unfortunately. So that's why pricing your property is very, very crucial, because you don't want to price it really expensive and then people don't really see the value of their stay. So you want to make sure to price them very accurately, because you want to make sure that you're not overcharging and people have a crazy expectation and then you get a ding on this category. And then there's the overall star rating, which is a separate question that the guest is asked. How would you rate your overall experience? Here's the tough love moment. Even a 4-star review can start to lower your overall average. Airbnb is really aiming for that 4.8 star review and above if you want superhost status and want to rank high in the search results. Managing short-term rentals can be very overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be. That's why I use Hospitable, my go-to property management software program. This is a very powerful automation tool. Hospitable has transformed how I manage my properties, freeing up my times, and I only spend about 15 to 30 minutes a week managing all of my properties. Hospitable automates 90% of guest communication, syncs your calendars across all the platforms like Airbnb and Vrbo, and even coordinates with your team. It's everything you need to simplify your hosting experience and focus on growing your business. And here's the best part. When you sign up using my link in the show notes, you'll receive $30 off your first invoice. Every cent counts when it comes to investing. It's my way of helping you get started with a tool that has truly changed the game for me. Ready to save time and elevate your hosting? Click the link in the show notes to claim your discount and get started with Hospitable today. Now let's actually talk about the fun stuff, which is how to actually earn those 5 stars consistently. It's not just about being perfect, but it's being intentional. Here's what I've seen that actually moves the needle again and again. The very first thing is actually being proactive with your communication. Transparency is very crucial, especially when it comes to guests. You want to make sure that if that guest says that they are there for a bachelorette party and you know that you have noise sensitive neighbors, you just want to be upfront and be like, hey, I just want to let you know that our neighbors are very noise sensitive. So if you are looking to have a fire at midnight tonight, this cabin might not be the best fit for you. And kind of just be transparent. Or if there's not that much toilet paper left at the property because you forgot to order some, you can just be like, hey, I just want to let you know there's only 5 more rolls of toilet paper. We are ordering more, but I just want to be very upfront with you. People like when people are upfront and they aren't hiding anything. Another thing that moves the needle is just triple checking your cleaning. If you don't live close to your Airbnb, have your cleaner take photos of each room after every single clean. That way you know that things are getting clean and done correctly. Also, under promise and over deliver. If you say that there's a smart TV, make sure it's logged in and it's actually working. If you're advertising a fully stocked kitchen, hopefully there's more than just one pot and pan, that you have a can opener, a wine opener, and so on and so forth. And then also fix recurring feedback. So when you are getting feedback from your guests and you see that something keeps on getting mentioned over and over and over, actually fix that problem. So for example, one of our cabins, there is a dark corner. And a lot of people said that it needs a lamp, it needs light, they want to read a book, or so on and so forth. We have had that review or that feedback, I would say 2 or 3 times. And finally, Clay and I were like, okay, we need to actually get a lamp in that corner. So we took that feedback to heart. We have a lamp and we haven't heard anything since. Another example is one of our feedback was that I guess our shower was really confusing to turn on. I didn't think it was that confusing, but hey, whatever. So how we fixed that was we actually had a how-to to turn on the shower, and we haven't had any issues ever since that. So once people actually leave you a feedback, take that into heart and then actually go correct it. Okay, so even with all of that said, you will eventually get a bad review. And it happens. So as much as you are trying to prevent the bad reviews, unfortunately, they do happen. I remember the very first time I got my one and only 2-star review, and I was devastated. I called my husband Clay up. I was so mad because the things that he was mentioning in the review were absolutely ridiculous and not truthful whatsoever. I think he was just a cranky guy, to be honest. But having a bad review does happen. So when that happens, don't reply back right away. Don't get emotions involved. And then also read it with a clear mind. Is there any truth to what they are actually saying? Even unfair reviews often contain a nugget or two of useful information. And I know it's hard to swallow, to be honest, but it's true. Like when you read a bad review, ask yourself, what can I actually change in this? And is there anything I can change? Now, just like a Google review, you could reply to other people's comments, especially the public ones. So when people leave, let's say a 4-star review or under, I always reply to that, because people like to see the response and to know if that review was actually truthful or not. So I always respond to the 4 stars or lower, and I kind of just kill them with kindness. And I do use ChatGPT to help me out a little bit. But one guest left me a 4-star review, and he literally just said the neighbor was rude. And truthfully, they are super rude. So that was the truth. But my response, and thank you, ChatGPT, but my response was, I'm so sorry that the neighbor is not a Wisconsin kind neighbor, or something like that. Like, I just made it corny, and I just mentioned, like, not everyone has the Wisconsin nice, and I apologize for that. So that was my reply back, and I kind of giggled because it's like, what am I going to say to having a rude neighbor? I'm not going to say, yeah, you're right, because I don't want other people to see that and not book because they don't want to have a rude neighbor next to their stay. But just remember that your public reviews isn't just for that guest, it's actually for your future guests. They want to see how you handle problems. And if the review violates Airbnb policy, like if they include personal tax or something that is just not correct, you can actually report it and get it removed. I've never actually done that before, but I will guarantee you that if something like that does happen, I will contact Airbnb and try to have it removed, because because reviews are so important and we want to make sure that everything's actually accurate. Now let's actually dive into why reviews actually equal to revenue. So let me actually just make this simple. Reviews make you money. Airbnb search algorithm favors listings with consistent high reviews. Guests use reviews to also decide between similar listings. Yours might have the same amenities, same price, and kind of the same look to it, but if you have a higher ranking, they will pick yours hands down. Just like Google reviews, everyone looks at the reviews and that's how they decide whether that's the restaurant that they want to go to or the product that they want to buy. Also, superhost status leads to higher trust and more bookings. So if you can get that superhost status every quarter, that's huge for your listing. And then lastly, good reviews allow you to charge more. And that's the fact. If you have good reviews, you can up your price because you know that people are still going to book your property because you have the great reviews. As promised, before we wrap things up, I do want to give you a little tip and trick because you stuck around throughout the whole episode. And that is how we actually get so many 5-star reviews. There's actually 2 nuggets I want to share with you. The very first one is that we actually ask for reviews. Crazy, right? We ask for them to leave us a 5-star review and we're transparent. We say having a 5-star review helps our business a lot. I would really appreciate if you can leave a 5-star review and we will do the same for you. And a lot of people look at that and will actually leave us a 5-star review. Now, some people are kind of mean and they leave a 4-star and I'm like, seriously, like you literally just said that you had an amazing stay and then you left a 4-star. Like, what the heck? But most of the people leave 5-star reviews. Also, this is huge and I can't believe I'm about to share this with you, but it is a massive game changer and it does not cost you any money. Your Wi-Fi code, fun fact, your Wi-Fi code, have the password be 5-star review, please. That is so subtle, and everyone always logs into your Wi-Fi. And having the password say 5-star review, please, is the most subtle way of saying I need that 5-star review. And a lot, like no one has ever actually commented on the password, but I do believe that it's a huge contributor of all of our 5-star reviews. Because right now I believe that we have, 375 5-star reviews or something like that, and maybe less than 20 4-star reviews. And honestly, I think it's maybe less than 10, maybe 15. I don't know. I don't count the 4-star reviews because those kind of give me anxiety. And it is what it is. I hope that you have found those little tips and tricks very helpful because those are my golden little nuggets that now you know about. But as always, if you have any questions, feel free to reach me at my Instagram, the Airbnb Roadmap Podcast. If you need some guidance with your Airbnb, I do have a mentorship program. And like I mentioned before, the course launch, which is super exciting, and it is geared toward beginners. It helps you find, analyze, and launch your short-term rental, and I will teach you actually how to automate everything so you only have to spend 30 minutes a week to manage your Airbnb. And guess what? The course is not that expensive at all because I don't believe in overcharging people for education because you need that money to launch your Airbnb. So again, check out my course, mentorship program, and I will see you next time. Thanks for joining me on the Airbnb Roadmap. If you're loving these episodes and want to keep the conversation going, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this podcast with someone who's ready to dive into the world of short-term rentals. Got a question or topic you would love to hear about? Reach out. This podcast is all about learning and growing together. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram, the Airbnb Roadmap Podcast, for more tips, tricks, and behind-the-scene insights. Until next time, here's to turning your short-term rental dreams into thriving realities. I'll see you back here soon.